We're now approaching the first week of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the left has put out, I would call them, a series of lies or untruths that are trying to confuse the American people about what happened on that Utah campus. Number one, they say this is the conservatives' George Floyd moment, and they say this was a right-on-right violence because Mr. Robinson, the assassin, came from a Mormon family, and even his trans boyfriend, girlfriend that he lived with, she too was a Mormon. That's about as close as you can get to that on truth. Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. We're now approaching the first week of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the left has put out, I would call them, a series of lies or untruths that are trying to confuse the American people about what happened on that Utah campus. Let's do number one. They say this is the conservatives' George Floyd moment. It is not a George Floyd moment. In 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Antifa and BLM led 5 months of violent protest. 35 people killed, 1,500 police officers injured, historic church torched, police precinct torched, federal courthouse torched. In addition to that, we had 1,500 officers injured, $2 billion of property damage, arson, looting, violence. Tried to rush Donald Trump in the White House and tried to get him on the grounds and send him to the White House bunker. That didn't happen after the death of Charlie Kirk. All people did was try to double down on his efforts. They tried to subscribe in great numbers to Turning Point USA. They talked about registering to vote, but it was all peaceful and calm. It was not anything like George Floyd. Number two, George Floyd should not have died in police custody. I'm not going to assess that blame one way or the other, and that was a tragedy that he died. But Charlie Kirk was not anything like George Floyd. George Floyd was an 8-time career criminal. 8 times he had been convicted of crimes. He was a prison convict. He staged a home invasion robbery and put a knife at the abdomen of the occupant, a young woman. George Floyd would have been fine if he had not been trying to pass counterfeit currency. That's the only reason he had the encounter with the police. The store owner was scared that this stranger came in, was passing fake bills. They called the police. He had a second chance. All he had to do was obey the police and get in the car and go to the police station. There would have been no problem. He was on amphetamines. He was on fentanyl. He had a COVID disease. He had not been a good father. He had not been a good family. Charlie Kirk had never been involved with law enforcement in a negative fashion. He had 2 kids. He had a wonderful wife. He had a stable family. He was just the antithesis of George Floyd. There was nothing at all similar. A third lie about the passing of Charlie Kirk is, well, this was a right-on-right violence because Mr. Robinson, the assassin, came from a Mormon family, and even his transitioning boyfriend, girlfriend that he lived with, she too was from a Mormon. That's about as close as you can get to that on truth. In fact, he took the effort to scrawl on the cartridges of the shells that he intended to kill Charlie Kirk, and one did. He had, what did he have on it? He had Antifa logos, both in Italian and English. He had trans messaging. He was on record on a trans chat site, a group of radical people joking about killing Charlie Kirk. People who knew him said that he was obsessed with the upcoming arrival of Charlie Kirk, that he damned him at a family dinner. People who knew him said that he was bragging what a great shot he was and how far left he was. That was a proven fact that the person who killed Charlie Kirk was a member of the left, just exactly like Luigi Mangione or the Sarna brothers and a whole list of people who've tried to take out people as varied as the the Jewish couple that were killed and butchered at the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C., or the former Bernie Sanders activists who tried to kill some of the Republican leadership and almost killed Steve Scalise. So that was on truth. And finally, it's very important to see that as a reaction to the death of Charlie Kirk, there's nobody going out and threatening everybody. There's nobody saying that we have to go after this particular person on the left. We have to do this particular person. We have to have vast new laws to protect Charlie Kirk. There's anger that the left has been promiscuous in the use of Nazi and fascist, and that lowered the bar of the acceptable. But it's not like George Floyd, where all of a sudden people on the left, remember, they were kneeling in the rotunda, Nancy Pelosi, and immediately the bureaucracy, Mark Milley, Lloyd Austin, they used that occasion to mandate radical DEI transformations in our society. The University of Chicago, to take one example, announced that their English department would take no applicants unless they were Black studies concentrators. So the left seized that moment and tried to push through agendas, and were successful that otherwise would not have happened. Nobody's trying to do that now. They're trying to commemorate Charlie Kirk by one positive way, and that is everybody go out and register to vote. Register as many people as you have. Registered more people that are young and conservative that's ever been registered before, and then turn out in the November midterms in 1 year, and then do the impossible, overturn historical precedent, and elect a conservative House and Senate to empower a conservative Charlie Kirk agenda. Thank you very much. This is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Signal. Please like, share, and subscribe to be notified for more content like this. You can also check out my own website at victorhanson.com and subscribe for exclusive features in addition.